right, welcome back. It's now time to check in with the leading stories on this Sunday morning. Of course, the Sunday papers are where we will start. We'll start off, this morning with the City Press. Death threats won't deter me. This, of course, is what Defo has said. Advocate Malesela Defo, who was arrested on Thursday, and he has continued to say that Police Minister Bheki Cele does not want him on the Senzo Meyiwa case. You'd remember that he is actually representing 4 of the 5 accused in this matter. So he says that death threats, arrests and murder plots, these are some of the allegations controversial policeman turned advocate Malesela Defo has made against high-ranking police officials he believes are out to derail him from his job. However, he said he would not be prevented from finding out the truth about who really killed Orlando Pirates and Bafana Bafana goalkeeper Senzo Meyiwa. And he, of course, had mentioned some people in court on Thursday that he believes were at the crime scene on that particular day, on the 26th of October 2014, when the actual shooting and the killing of Senzo Meyiwa took place. So, you know, he mentioned a few names, including that of Hawks head at the time, Shadrack Sibia, and also the MEC of Community Safety, Sizakele Nkosi Malobane, who he also mentioned to have been there. So he's alluding then that that crime scene was tampered with. But he's consistently said that he will stick to this. And he says, I knew that this time around they'd be exposed. I was with my attorney. He said, let it happen. It will be good for us, he added. So he's really adamant that this will, you know, this will somehow really show how the police have been handling the case, the Senzo Meyiwa case specifically. But of course, the police have also responded, as you heard there, and they've said that, you know, this warrant of arrest was executed, and he knew about it, apparently. He knew that it was coming, but he decided then to go back into the court. So that's what he's facing at the moment. And these death threats, really just quite scary, what the advocate is going through right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it must be a very harrowing ordeal for him as well. On page 4, we continue to make sense of the latest report by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. It says recommendations, or says rather, Zondo report, ANC did not deal with failure of service delivery recommendations by the Chief Justice Raymond Zondo in the 4th part of the report of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into allegations of state capture suggests that money be lawfully recovered from former Free State Human Settlements, MEC Msebenzi Zwane, and the department's then head of department, Moses Mpho Mokwena, as well as other officials who were involved in the 1 billion rand housing project debacle. Zondo also said that an investigation should be launched to help the National Prosecuting Authority determine whether Zwane Mokwena and others should be charged with fraud arising out of the misrepresentation on which the advance payment scheme was based with regards to the project. He goes on to say there's only one way to describe the Free State 1 billion rand housing project of the 2010-2011 financial year, and that is dismal failure, a debacle. By the end of that financial year, after the Free State Department of Human Settlements had spent more than R500 million, there were either no houses that had been built for the poor, for the poor people for whom the provincial department was required to build low-cost houses, or there was few houses built compared to those that were supposed to have been built. They are not worth mentioning, the report reads. So that is, as the country continues to really sink their teeth into the report that was released by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo there into that Commission of Inquiry.
Absolutely, and a lot more still coming out. We're expecting, of course, with that 5th report expected to come out soon. But we have seen on the film that is going around on Netflix, Silverton Siege.
Yeah.
But interesting enough, the Icons family turns to the court to stop this film. And we read here from the Sunday Times a report from Julia Madibogo and Karabo Ledwaba. The family of Umkhonto weSizwe operative Stephen Mafoko says that Silverton Siege will destroy his legacy and portray him as a serial robber, bank robber, who was a career criminal and gang member. The Mafoko family is seeking a court interdict to stop the broadcasting of the Netflix thriller, which premiered on the global streaming site on Freedom Day, the 27th of April. The film features lead actors Thabo Rametsi as Calvin Khumalo, Nokolo Dlamini as Mbali Tera, Stephen Erasmus as Aldo Erasmus, and Arnold Vosloo as Johan Langeman. And it is based on events of January the 25th of 1980, when Mafoko, along MK members Humphrey Makubo and Wilfred Mandela, who came to be known as the Silverton Three, took the Volkskas Bank in Silverton, Pretoria siege and demanded, among other things, the release of Nelson Mandela. So that's the City Press on page 5 this morning.
Yep, wrapping up the City Press then. Let's move over to the Sunday Times. We'll have a closer look at the front page. Where was the ANC? Big and bold. This is, it goes, how the Guptas shopped for a new minister. Zuma told me to help Guptas, but I'm sure, Tshegohaco, you'll go into that in a little bit more detail. I want to head over to the back page of the Sunday Times here. It says, it refers to Ngidi. Says, Lungisani Ngidi ready to fight for a place in the Proteas as debate rages on whether South African players in the IPL should regain their Protea spots. Frontline bowler Ngidi weighed in on the issue this week, telling the Sunday Times that no one is guaranteed a place in any international team. Batters Aiden Markram, Rasifon Edison, and Ngidi, Kagiso Rabada, Andrich Nortje, and Marco Janssen will be available for the Test series against England in August. The 6 players, they opted out of the recent 2-0 Test series win over Bangladesh, which took place in Durban and Gqeberha, to honor their IPL contracts. Of course, these contracts are multi-million rand contracts. It really is quite a big payday for the cricketing stars of South Africa, which is why they would rather go play in the IPL, even if it is just for the duration of the tournament, before returning to the South African setup. And then this one says, refs must reclaim rugby from TMOs. Nigel Owens, arguably the most revered international referee of the past decades, has been the most consistent in his critique of the use of television match officials. And it's not difficult to agree wholeheartedly with Owens. It is time rugby put the TMO back in the box. There must be a role for the TMO, but not in its current guise, where its influence is greater than that of the referee. Now, if you are a rugby watcher, you understand that the television match official can make calls during the game and lead the referee to make certain decisions. As a matter of fact, can tell the referee what decisions to make in regards to what's happening on the field of play, taking a lot of power out of the referee's hands and putting it in the television match official in that case. So that's your sport in the Sunday Times this morning.
Quite interesting there, and I mean, it would be great to see more of South African, young South Africans playing cricket, and specifically in the IPL.
Absolutely.
Let's then go to the Sunday Times that Buhle was alluding to. Where was the ANC? A report here by Thanduxolo Jika, Amanda Khoza, and Apiwe de Klerk. And they say SA must ensure that nothing like state capture ever happens again. This according to Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan. This was his reaction to Chief Justice Raymond Zondo's 4th state capture report, and the Treasury and the asbestos and housing scandals in the Free State, among other issues. The report highlights former President Jacob Zuma's complicity and the failure of the ANC to lift a finger to halt the state capture. And Gordhan says the Zondo report has finally exposed what was really going on during state capture of the key institutions in South Africa, including Eskom, Transnet, SARS, and many other institutions, he told the Sunday Times. Gordhan, who Zondo lauded together with former Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene for having saved the Treasury from the Guptas, called for those implicated by the report to be held to account. He's also said that the report gives due acknowledgement to the struggle that people like ourselves and key officials in the Treasury put up in order to ensure that the Treasury never falls into the hands of the Guptas, for which eventually people like Deputy Minister Mcebisi Jonas and myself were fired. Remember that Derek Hanagom was also fired. Mwako Ramatori was also dismissed. Anybody who stood in the way was fired in March of 2017. He adds that it is important that all sections of society understand the negative and devastating impact that corruption has on institutions that are the real corruptors must be held to account. I mean, he's going out strong on that, you know, around the issue of people being held to account. But the good question that the Sunday Times is reporting is, where was the ANC in all of this? Where were they? Where were the people that were being led? And how could they have not said no to certain things that had transpired when the Guptas were around and within state capture?
Yeah, no, definitely important questions that, and we'll continue to make sense of the reports as they continue to come out, and wrap our heads around this latest one as well. I want to take you to the Sunday World this morning. I'm going to take you straight to page 7. It says, new wave may not be as deadly. This is in relation to COVID-19. As you might be aware, we've seen at least 6,500 new cases in the last 24 hours. But health experts say that decrease in severe COVID infections are likely in the fifth wave, following the announcement by Health Minister Joe Buhle that the country appears to be heading towards a fifth wave of infections earlier than expected. Epidemiologists and virologists say nothing can be cast in stone as yet concerning the severity of the new wave. They do, however, believe that the fifth wave is unlikely to result in more deaths because viruses tend to mutate themselves, and the fifth wave of COVID-19 remains anyone's guess. But we are hopeful that we shall weather the storm as we did the previous waves. This epidemiologist says that I believe the country is also better prepared this time around, so we expect a low mortality rate and a decrease in severe cases of illness that might lead to hospitalization. But he did say, however, a quick warning that South Africans letting down their guard should not be happening, saying that it could complicate the war against the deadly virus. So we still need to make sure that we stick to, the non-pharmaceutical interventions, keeping the mask on, sanitizing, social distancing, as we seem to be heading towards a fifth wave with 6,500 cases reported in the last 24 hours.
And let's just then move over, staying with the Sunday World on page 10. The headline there being water scandal sees key Utukela leaders quit. Now we do know that in KZN they've had those water issues specifically after the floods in that province. And Nkanyezi Kubega, the principal of Ukukhanyakwezwe Secondary School, who fought a lone fight against the Utekela District Municipality in KwaZulu-Natal over its failure to supply residents and schools with water, is keenly awaiting results of the municipal probe into alleged fraudulent use of water tankers. Worried that walking long, punishing distances to get water was taking a toll on pupils, while trips to contaminated streams had put their lives in danger, has prompted Kubega to write to the Office of the Public Protector requesting their intervention. And he says, my biggest worry was that matriculants were losing out on learning time. We also had to send learners to fetch water in nearby streams, but we stopped because female learners were at great risk because of those who practiced ukutwala, which is, of course, kidnapping of a young girl or a young woman with the intention of compelling her to or her family to endorse marriage negotiations. And he was concerned that they were now camping near the streams and abducting them. So those are the papers. I mean, this one's quite scary.
Indeed. And those are your papers for this morning. Just a snapshot of what to expect in the Sunday papers for today. Up next.